How can we deepen connection by looking through the lens of our fandom model? Well, first, what is our fandom model? If you've not seen it before, or even just as a quick refresher, if you have, it's at its heart, it's a lens that we can look through to better understand the world of fandom. And it was developed through research with thousands of different fans from across the world. It's made up of all the things that we see important to passionate fans, and therefore it gives us the levers that we can pull to help our audiences get there a little bit quicker. So it can help us make sense of how fandoms can play a role in defining who we are, like we spoke about earlier, with learning through the characters that we love, the different creative and emotional and transactional moments that we can share with a fandom or character, and how fandoms can be amplified through sharing moments with family, friends, and communities. The power of the model is that we can use it in many different contexts. So whether you just have a spark of an idea, or you want to grow your fan base, solve some tough engagement challenges that you're encountering at the moment, or just nurture relationships that are already there. And this applies across brands, audiences, and industries as well. And importantly here, we can look through the lens of the fandom model to understand how we can help our characters thrive. How do we do that then? So here I want to zoom in on 5 key areas of our fandom model, showing a couple of case studies for each of them to highlight some of the different ways character connections might be deepened through contact with youth audiences. So let's start with our first example, friend or closeness. So this one quite new is an element of our fandom model that most directly relates to characters. So feeling like a friend of a character or personality is a unique form of self-identification. The more someone feels linked to them as a friend, the stronger their emotional connector is. Influencer fandoms or someone like Taylor Swift thrives on this. So how do we push these friendly feelings further? The first is representation and diversity. So it might seem like an obvious one, but actually there are fewer characters and worlds out there than we actually need to get representation and diversity right. Ones that are accurate in their reflections, sufficiently nuanced, and work to challenge stereotypes as well. So this includes evolving family dynamics, for example, neurodiversity, different cultures, and much more as well. So inclusion is important as it fosters both belonging and connection. Craig of the Creek, pictured here, is a good example of a show that gets representation and diversity right. The next is providing a deeper look at who the characters are. So consumers and creators often don't have the time to, like through core content, to explore every avenue of who a character is, the quirks, their motivations, all the nuance there, or even just what they have for lunch. And peripheral content can help open up these channels of honesty and understanding. So whether that's through high production vlog style YouTube videos that we might see from Barbie and Unicorn Academy, or maybe even just a written short story about a character's day, or maybe a character inspired playlist to give audiences an extra glimpse of that character's personality. And as my wife tells me when I bring her good snacks, to be known is to be loved. The final example is contact to bring connection to life. So which budding Marvel fan doesn't wish they could have a chat with Iron Man, for example? And contact can come to life in many different ways. So from more traditional meet and greets, which can be particularly impactful for literary characters who don't always get seen, brought to life, and particularly for younger audiences as well, to innovations using AI to help you feel like you're having a personal conversation with characters. And meeting them in video games can also serve as a similar function here. Or maybe it's just simply being sent a message of support through social media. This is something that Elmo managed to kick up a storm with last year by simply asking the world how everyone's doing, which prompted a lot of emotional responses from celebrities and more. So even small bits of contact can create meaningful feelings of friendship. Another facet of self-definition is skill development. So progress and growth are at the heart of defining who we are. And so a brand or character that helps someone develop a personal skill becomes ingrained in that person's definition of self. I'm going to draw a couple of examples here from the author Mo Willems and his character, the Pigeon, through both their YouTube and book content. So skill development here could involve something tangible and expressible, such as teaching kids how to draw a character or how to tell jokes, which is something that both of those things were ingrained in the character as they were designed from the start, as both easy to draw and also quite chaotic and funny. But equally, It can be just as much about teaching kids about how to navigate scary moments in their lives, or providing coping strategies such as staying calm, which is increasingly important in this fast-paced and high-pressured world. There are other examples too that put both characters and a child's socio-emotional learning at the core of a brand's experience, such as Sanrio's partnership with Kahoot to help children learn more about vocabulary and communication through Hello Kitty and Mr. Men, Little Miss, or innovation from Humi, which pauses watch content to meaningfully focus in on characters to support children's understanding of emotions and behaviors that these characters display. And supporting developing children in this way right now is perhaps just as important as ever. So research from the Sesame Workshop highlights how parents now, compared to 10 years ago, are describing their children as being less kind and thoughtful, whereas levels of anxiety and less positive descriptors have actually increased. So for us, even modeling just a little bit more kindness in the characters we create might actually go a long and meaningful way. Whilst our other examples were about self-definition, our final two are focused on interaction moments. The first one being frequency. So this one's fairly straightforward in that the more you're around as a character, meaningfully anyway, the more mind share and fandom you're able to encourage. But it also helps stronger fans get more of the character they love on a sort of top-line basis. So in our own research, frequent engagement was a #1 need from fans. So we're going to look at Tony boxes here as a bit of an example, which highlights a couple of different ways in which character frequency can be pushed a little bit further. So characters and their stories are at the heart of the Tony box experience. And it's also an experience that fits nicely into daily routines, such as getting ready for school or winding down before bed. And engagement can also be relatively low effort, and kids can just sit back and take in the stories and songs and characters and worlds in a more reflective way. There's also a sense of ownership and control over the characters and stories that isn't always present in audio-based content, as there's a bit more of a physicality to it. And then on that line, it also offers avenues for physical play and display for the different characters you can collect. You can keep them out, line them up, and it keeps them front of mind. It's also a slightly new avenue to enjoy characters that perhaps before you might have only seen in visual media. And importantly, it facilitates shared moments between family members, and this in itself can have fandom fueling benefits on its own. So particularly for kids under 7, this gives us a good bit of direction on some of the specific moments that can help characters stay connected to children more frequently. In this final example, we'll focus on 2 different fandom model elements, so participation and influence. And whilst these can exist separately, we often seem to come into life together. So participation in this instance refers to having the creative freedom to take part in a fandom in your own unique way. And increasingly, brands are celebrating this creativity by giving fans the chance to influence and shape the fandoms that they enjoy. So it turns them from just a consumer into a trusted and invested stakeholder. From our own research, the boom in community sharing on platforms like TikTok and Discord means fans are often looking for creative encouragement, inspiration, and tools to participate in their fandom in their own way. So a quarter of teens in our research wanted this. So it's not insignificant, and it's something that parents were found to really value too. And this creativity and support is very much something that characters can be a part of for youth audiences. There's a couple of other examples. So author Dav Pilkey, the creator of Dogman and Captain Underpants, has the Epic Comic Club. It's a community and a set of resources that encourages children to flex their creative muscles through comic writing. So not only is this an example of skill development, it also encourages children to use characters to create their own stories in new and personally meaningful ways. So by giving kids open edges and looser questions, they have some guidance, but enough creative control to deepen their emotional investment with the characters. Also with the Epic Comic Club, comics that are uploaded to the site also have the chance to be featured for everyone else to see. So allowing these works of art to be brought to life in a sort of a semi-official capacity, giving kids some amount of influence on how the brand comes to life. An adjacent example from the Pokemon Company. So every year they get thousands of submissions to their competition to have a personally crafted piece of art around a character be brought to life in an official Pokemon card. And competitions like this, even if it was for characters with much less heritage than Pikachu, can give a boost to audiences in feeling both valued and also inspired.